Hello, legends and super legends. Welcome to Veloharmony's subscriber hangout. Let's see here. We're a few seconds early, so that's cool. Let's see. Michael Fernandez. Well, good morning to you. Good. I think it's Saturday morning there. From the land down under. Jeffrey Davis. Cycling T. Holmes. USMC 5900. All right. Good morning, Michael. Hey, Cycle Jockey. Glad you could make this. Seems like the evening's working better for the main folks. Yeah, it's Eldred, Michael, E-L-D-R-E-D. The spell checker does Elder, if you check that. It's actually a British name. Peter Rogala. Hi, all, and happy holidays. Happy holidays to you. Crystal Lake, Illinois. All righty. Illinois is the land of Lincoln, I believe. It's not forever high. I spent a lot of time in Chicago when I used to do IT work. They're always up there going through O'Hare. Illich, one of our super legends. Illich, how are you doing? From Los Angeles, the city of angels. Welcome, welcome. And there's my brother, Paul. Oh, Paul, I wanted you to call me. You didn't, so I'm going to say it here. I grabbed a pink base layer from the Rafa sale that Stefano Mancini was talking about. And I was going to let you know to look at it. I didn't know if it was on your list. It was on my list because I got the green one last year and it's worked. That long protein thermal base layer. They put it on sale. The pink one's 56, and I think the yellow or the chartreuse and black is like 40 something. I don't have a lot of chartreuse, so I took the pink one because it will go with the blue we have and the red protein thermal that I have. So I'm going to get a lot of use out of that. And I also snagged the protein hat, the winter cap with the ear flaps in pink. I figure it will go with the blues that I have and it will look good under my blue helmet because we're going to be cold the next week. Yeah, we're on target to hit 400 miles this week, guys. Fun. I haven't ridden this much since 2002 when I used to compete. That's the kind of training I used to do to get to the top level. And, you know, we've been doing it for a month and my engine has just reformatted itself. So we're on a 400-mile week. I'm about 320 miles already. So tomorrow it's supposed to rain. I don't care. I will do at least 80 to get to 400. And then Sunday, maybe try to get to 500. So, you know, so today was a rest day. I just went and spun. Felt very tired, you know, but I just used the little gears. And so I wrapped up the Festive 500 today. My brother wasn't able to make it, but he'll knock it out tomorrow. So I went ahead and ordered my badge and all that good stuff. Yeah, he said, USMC said, I said it on Strava, but I'll say it again. Congrats. Hey, man, we started early December putting in 500 kilometers. The first week, my legs were very sore because we just ramped up the mileage. But, yeah, we were ready for it. So we've been doing it for like 3 weeks. And this week, we're going to hit 400 easy. You know, tomorrow's supposed to rain, but I already got the mud guards on the bike. The bike's ready. So they bring it on. We're going to be doing it. And so this will be the first 400 week. The guys that we ride with, one guy named Jerry. I don't know if you got a chance to look, Paul. Oh, you picked the black and yellow. Okay, Paul got it good. I don't know if you got to look. Jerry did 170-something kilometers today. So if he comes out tomorrow, we're going to be changing the pace on him. He's going to be tired. These guys, I mean, he went all the way to Anderson. So tomorrow we're going to be ramping it up, my brother. That guy, I mean, he just lives on the bike. I thought I was bad. These guys are making me look bad. Everybody's in the house. Paul is here. USMC 5900. Our man, Michael Fernandez from the land down under. Let's see here. Cycling T. Holmes. Since I'm coming back from knee injury, not a bike-related injury, knee feels good riding. Is shortening my stem and setting my saddle back a decent idea in theory? What problem are you trying to address? That's the information I don't have. Why are you shortening your stem? It sounds like you're trying to work on your fit. You know, you shouldn't be changing things. So unless you're having an issue, that's a lot of changes. If you're shortening your stem and setting your saddle back, my big question is why? So that's the thing, you know. It's hard for me. I don't know where your setup is or anything. So that's a stab in the dark. Hey, Cycle Warrior, happy holidays. Oh, Paul spun. Good for you. Found Forever, are you looking to rest after the 500 and get some super compensation? Not really, because actually I'm going to ramp up next week because, yeah, I know what you mean. I'm going to go 6 weeks before I really rest. And yeah, my Macra cycles, I took 2 rest weeks before we started. I had taken a rest week, and then knowing that we were going to be doing that when Paul said he would have some time, I took a second rest week. So I really let my body drop. And so now I'm building up. So my super compensation will come mid-January. And where I would just take a regular rest week and ride every other day, just half the mileage. So if I'm doing 400, I may do 150 or 200 that rest week. Because my body's at the point where now, that's a very good point you made. Yesterday, we're riding, and I told Paul, we're riding hard in the rain 2 days ago, blowing wind or whatever, going hard, and my heart rate was like 136, 137. That's like low zone 1 for me. I couldn't get it higher, but I felt good, and we were pouring it on. And it was just like my legs were screaming, and my heart was laughing at my legs. That's the best way I can put it. So my legs have to work a lot more to get my heart there. And even last week with the fast guys, the highest heart rate I got was like 163, 164. That's like sweet spot. That's not even zone 4. So that's the kind of fitness you get. When I used to compete, I would ride 350 to 400 something miles a week. That's like 20, 25 hours to be able to keep up with the pro 1, 2, 3. That's why I didn't stay as a category 2 very long. It requires a lot of time. To do a 90-mile race, you need to be really fit. So you're not going full gas the whole time. And this is the kind of riding that gets you there. So we've been riding 25 hours a week, 20, 25 hours a week, like a part-time job, literally. And then we come across guys that are riding more. I was like, man, like the one guy named Jerry that we ride with, he just piles on the miles, you know. I was like, man, these guys. So when I see that, I don't feel so bad, you know. But yeah, it's been fun, though. It's been great because everything just feels easier. You feel faster. I was resting today, rolling at 22, 23 kilometers an hour. It was breezy, and I was intentionally staying below 120 beats a minute, which is really not much. And I just kept just like a massage on the bike, just spinning 105 RPMs to just keep my legs loose. That's all that was for. So yeah, mid-January, I was super compensated and then build up from there because I've allocated maybe, let's see, 12, 15 hours a week for cycling. As I have more time, I will ride a little more, leave a little earlier. You know, so once my girls go back to school, I'll have a little more time in the morning. I'll squeeze it in because then I can get back around lunch and work, you know, later from lunch to like 5 or 6, and then get in these live sessions and so forth. So thanks to everybody on the channel. I've gotten a lot of people following me on Strava. I think it's been great. And I think it's because of all the work we're doing. People see what you're doing and motivates them. There's a guy that came. I will get to the comments a little bit. The guy that came named, I think, Spacer, forgot his name. He came in today. He's all excited. He actually, because of the live session, the last live session, he signed up for the Festive 500. He was so excited. He said he felt my enthusiasm when he watched the video. And he signed up for the Festive 500, even though he's behind and he's going to try to make it. And so he posted on Strava, and I replied, giving him encouragement. I think it was Strava, or did he do the comments? I think it's Strava. Yeah. So he just found the channel, and he's all excited, and, you know, he can't believe it. You know, people find the channel, they can't believe the channel's been there a couple of years. Until it's out there, you just got to seek it, you know. So we're going to be riding. We're going to be riding, and we want everybody to stay active. We got to get rid of all these sedentary diseases. So yeah, but let me go back to Cycling T. Holmes. Don't make changes unless you're trying to solve a problem and you know what you're doing. You don't just change things to be changing things. So if you're shortening your stem, that means your stem's already too long. But then you shorten it and you're moving the saddle. Everything should start with your saddle before you start messing with your cockpit. So I think you're going about it wrong. You need to see a fitter in your area and get it dialed in, especially since you've had an injury you're coming back from. Don't mess around. You don't want to cut corners there. A couple of $100 for your comfort and to make sure you don't have any injury, that's a good investment. Psycho Warrior X. Yeah, I already said hi to you. And see, this is Font Forever. Those of you who signed up last week, I want to thank you before I begin. What's his name? Jeffrey Davis went upgraded to, I think I changed it to Lioness, a different category. He moved up. And then we got another guy named Joaquin, I think it was Rodriguez, that signed up. And then Illich signed up on Patreon. I really appreciate you guys stepping up. You guys are the one making it happen. You and the Chris Roxberrys, the Robert Tangler, you make this possible. You make this channel unique. And we're going to keep it that way. So I cannot thank you enough. And also, Eric Nell, our super chat from last week. So those of you who are here, if when it gets really busy and you want your question answered, consider doing a super chat. It helps the channel. It helps all of us. It helps the community. So I want to welcome the new people to Veloharmony. We do it differently here, the Common Sense channel. Let's get started here. Let's see. Font Forever. Are you looking to rest after? That was the one. Oh, super compensation. So mid-January will be my rest. David Brunati. I've been seeing David giving me kudos on Strava, and he has a flag. I believe is an Italian flag. I believe that's what it is. Hello, ever from Germany. Okay, so David, I believe that's an Italian flag on your Strava account. Let's see. Cycle Jockey has a question here. Today I had planned on doing a 90-minute sweet spot interval ride with 5 by 10 minutes at sweet spot. Legs were heavy. I was feeling off. So I spun for 30 minutes and pulled the plug. Yeah, if you're tired, your body's not you can't get there. You know, you're tired. So whatever you've been doing during the week that led to that, you got to backtrack and see if you planned to do sweet spot and you couldn't get there, something had you tired. Either you had a lot of work-related stress or you rode a lot more than you're used to and you just came in underperforming. Whenever you're under, you did the right thing by dropping it. And then, you know, if you want to stop, you stop. But even if you want to continue, drop the intensity, change the plan. There's no point. If you can't get to the intensity, there's no point in forcing it. Just drop it, and a little extra endurance does not hurt. You know, that's the thing. Whenever you have an extra day, do endurance, because that's the stuff that gives you the ability to stay, the staying power. That's what you get. Anybody can go fast for 50 yards. The people who can maintain, that's what happens when people start falling off. They don't have the endurance. So yeah, you did the right thing. But you need to go back and evaluate, why are you having trouble getting the sweet spot? Sweet spot's not super hard. So have you done the base work? And are you resting enough before your hard workouts? That's the thing you have to ask yourself. Jesse Davis. Now, I want to talk about Jesse here. Jesse Davis is one of the guys that stepped up and joined the coaching program. Jesse is very ambitious as it relates to cycling. Jesse, it's good to see you here. Before I answer your question, I'm going to introduce you to these guys. I'm glad this is his first time joining the live feed. Jesse wants to race bicycles. Jesse's a small guy, you know, relatively. You know, he's a diminutive guy like a Domenico Passovivo and, you know, type. But Jesse's very anxious to get into racing. And so what it turns out, as I've got to know him, I learned that he had not done any group rides yet, and he doesn't know how to draft and different things. So what I've tried to tell him, because he saw I had an advert for a race coming up, 45-mile race. He asked, is it a good idea? So what I told him is, don't think about racing right now, because he's new. He hasn't even done group rides or whatever. So, you know, and I'm not just doing this for Jesse, it's for all of us, everybody. If you want to do a Grand Fondo, a race, whatever, find the local riders in your area, ride with them before you go spend money on the event. See how you're doing with them. And that's why you guys are on this channel. You're seeking knowledge. That's why Jesse's here. That's why Jesse signed up for the coaching program. Jesse in the full-blown coaching program where I work directly with him. He's the guy I was talking about that did the threshold test like the next day after I sent it, whereas other people wait. He was ready to go. That's the guy I talk about, Jesse Davis, on here. And so all of you, including Jesse, what you want now is learn. So I'm going to, on the channel, we have a group ride cycling playlist. In there, we have group riding etiquette. Some of you have already seen it. Group ride etiquette and different things. And so whenever Jesse sends me an email, because I work by email with the people that I coach, what I do is I don't give him answers. I give him videos. I point him in a direction so he can get the full benefit of those videos that we have out there. Because what's happening is there's so many questions that Jesse has right now because this is all new to him. I think he used to run. So he's an athlete, but cycling is new. And he's excited about it. He's got the bug, so he's ready to go. He's got a trainer and everything. So the point is this. Ride with your local guys. Practice drafting, the stuff I talk about in the group ride videos and in the other videos about cycling etiquette. Understand the so-called, what I call nuances. I don't like to call them rules. The ins and outs of the sport. Because Jesse, some of the stuff he needs to know how close to follow, all of that. Those answers are in all the group ride video. So he needs to go back and watch the older group ride videos because I don't want to just tell him. I want him to see it. You guys see it. You see us. I even hear some of you guys saying, you guys, that person not following close enough. In other words, you guys see it to the point where you become the expert. That's what I want for Jesse. Jesse's good to see you here. So let me go. He said, just join. What to do when you go to pee after an hour of riding if you're a real small guy, and then what's the best strategy to ride in a group ride without getting dropped from being a smaller guy? All right. You don't get dropped because you're a smaller guy. You get dropped because you can't put out the power of the watts for that situation, regardless of your size. The video last week, that lady, Katie, is small. Women generally, they're smaller. I mean, you got exceptions, of course. But she's small. But she can put out the power on the flats or on the climbs because she has been doing it for a long time. You guys, the reason I decided to make all the rides public, because I used to just post the group rides. The reason I decided to make all the rides public on Strava for everybody following, so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, it's not, you guys know we're riding in cold weather, it's wet, whatever. It's not always fun, but there's a goal for that fitness you're going to achieve. So Jesse, I will get to the P thing because your size does not control whether you get dropped. What controls whether you get dropped is, have you ridden enough for that level? Remember, last week we went with the racers. Prior weeks, we went with Team RR. Years ago, we'd go with UMC or Bike Barn. All different levels. So for you, Jesse, you need to find people that are close to where you are because you're a beginner in the sport. You bring in some of the fitness from running, but cycling is very specific. So you need to learn how to ride, how to spin, all the little nuances and build your endurance. That's where it starts. Don't worry about it. And Jesse's one of those guys I have to mention here. He's very much into zones and heart rates and all of that. He's far too technical, and he's going to drive himself crazy. And there are a lot of guys here that are the same way. That's why I'm saying it like it is. It's not a knock on Jesse. Quit worrying about the numbers, but listen to how you're feeling. Then just glance at the numbers from time to time. That's what I do. So you need to ride, get yourself in condition now, find a group. Because if you go with a very fast group, you won't be able to even stay with them. So then you need to make sure, okay, these guys are too fast for me. Maybe it's group A. And a lot of you know that. And maybe you drop back to group B because every ride has splits. Start with a group at your level to where you're not out of control. You're not riding cross-eyed or dizzy or whatever. You never want to do that. So you can learn. But before the group rides, you need to educate yourself, since you're new to the sport, Jesse, about how to draft. If you don't draft very well, you don't stand a very good chance of riding with faster riders. And then you need to watch the rides that we've done on this channel so you can learn the little thing like don't pull. If you're new and the guys are faster, when you get to the front, pull off, go back. But the key is learn how to draft for several reasons. For the safety of the people you're riding with, you need to know how to draft. You need to know not to overlap your wheels. You need to know not to get too close, usually within a foot. But as long as you don't overlap, when it gets faster, I get very close. Okay? I'm talking like this. Especially experience when I'm following an experienced rider. The faster it gets, I get closer. You saw that in that ride yesterday. Nobody had to tell those guys in that wind to tighten up. The line just got tight on that highway. Because why waste your energy when you're in the back? So there's so much going on in cycling that you can't learn it from asking me questions or the next guy. So you found the channel. The information is here in those videos. So you want to go through the group ride cycling videos, look at some of the etiquette videos, and that when you send your questions by email, what I do is I will put a video link in there if it answers you, in addition to any answer I will give you, because I want you going back to the archive. And that's what I do for everybody. So, I'm glad you made it here. Now, as far as peeing after an hour, we usually pee at the 2-hour mark. On the ride that you saw, we stopped at a store in Richards. That's where everybody they had a porta potty outside. But people pee whenever. The group kind of decides. I think it was 2 weeks ago when the same group caught Team RR. You could see them standing on the road peeing as we rode by, just in a private area. Yeah, so, you just tell the people you're with, I need a pee break. Whenever. I mean, there are rides. I think 2 days ago we were riding. We were stopping so often to pee. It was wet and cold, and we'd stop more frequently. You have to pee when you need to pee. It's just uncomfortable to not do that. So that's not a big deal. You just discuss with the people. It's not like it's a race where nobody's going to stop. And even some races I've been in, the longer races, yeah, there's a neutral point. Everybody kind of agrees to the pee break, and nobody's going to attack. And you stop and you pee. For the longer races, the short category 5, category 4, they don't do that. But the pro 1, 2, 3, yeah, they stop the pee, when the race is not on yet, because they don't race full gas for 90 miles. But yeah, there's so much involved that if you're not in the archives looking at those videos and getting the information, you're shortchanging yourself. But it's good to see you here, Jesse. So I'm going to move on. And look at this. Eric Nell. I'm going to jump to my super chat, Eric Nell. He said, thanks again, Eldred, for all your time. This guy, and we've talked about time. And I remember Mo last week. Mo said cycling time was precious. I must have mentioned it on here. And I nodded my head and I knew. I love hooking up with Mo. Every day I learn something new from him, or he confirms what I already believe. And Paul and I talked about it. Cycling time is precious. You guys saw them. Greg had mechanical. They wished him well. They didn't wait. Time to go. It's time to ride. Look at it this way. I'm riding 4 hours a day, let's say. So if I leave here, I get up at 5:30 in the morning. My family's still asleep. People have asked, how do you do that? My family's still asleep. My wife's still asleep, whatever, especially on a Saturday. If I get up at 5:30, 6:30, 6:45, Paul and I, we usually clip in. That's 6:45 to 11:45. That's 5 hours. And so if I waste time out there, if I want to do 5 hours, it might be 12:45 or 1:45. So why would I do that? That's the reason why you don't waste your time. I can get 5 hours in. 11:45 noon, I'm back home. I can load stuff on Strava, start working on the sync for the film, and all of that. So so I don't waste time out there. We don't. We're ready to go. Paul and I have already talked about it, because even you guys noticed Chris Roxbury said on one video that we did with Team RR, he said they stopped too much. He saw that. We filmed the stops. And we felt the same way. So Paul and I had already decided next time they're stopping like that, because they don't do it on every ride. Next time Team RR stopped like that, we said we'll get some clips, and then we'll just go when they're stopped, knowing where the route is, and hook up with them. Get some more miles in and then hook up with them on the way in, like Greg Schott did with the big guy. We'd already planned that. Because if I'm out there, I want to be riding those hours. I don't want to be waiting. If I'm out for 6 hours, I want to ride 5:56. You guys get what I'm talking about. Okay, let's see here. He said, thanks for your time and instructional videos. You're welcome. I challenge everyone watching to help support this channel. As Eldred says, don't break the bank, but your support will enable this channel to continue. Thank you, Eric. This channel, with people like Eric and the rest of you guys, I mean, you know, everybody will help. I appreciate that. Everybody will help when they're ready. What I want to do here is something special. I want, because Robert Tangler, Chris Roxbury already said this channel is like nothing else. Having access to be able to ask questions before you buy something or before you shop, knowing that, you know, don't feel pressured. Somebody had mentioned, you know, about feeling pressured. It's good to bounce things off of other people. And then with this community, other people can chat while I'm talking. Other people can answer your question or whatever. And we're building it here so that you know you're in the know. You're not going to walk into a bike shop unless somebody tell you to buy something. I told you guys about my experience with the bikes with my kids. In 2 hours, well, it's been 2 days. So the first time was 1 hour. Today we went out again. I took my girls to the park with their bikes. The 7-year-old can already ride. She did it yesterday successfully. The second, so it took her about 2.5, 3 hours of instruction. She got it. The other one was about 1.5 hours. Everybody learns differently, but they're both riding independently now. And so what I was teaching them at the park, some guy came, he was standing by just watching. And he noticed that I was not letting them ride. We're working on starting and stopping. Riding is easy. You guys know that. It's clipping in, clipping out. You know, I've fallen. I was on a bike. I told you guys about it, looking real cool, all matching and everything, and forgot to unclip and plop down at the light. So I'm teaching my daughters how to stop, because if they don't know how to stop, they panic. So when the bike starts to go down a hill and the speed picks up, the 7-year-old would panic. And I got her to understand that you control that with your coaster brakes. So now she's getting the confidence knowing that whenever I feel uneasy, I can stop. So we worked on starting, stopping, starting, stopping. And the guy was standing there. He said he was surprised they were not protesting. But that's because at the house, we had already discussed it. And I explained to them, you will get more time. You'll have more fun when you know what to expect. So they were able to ride this, I guess it's a third outing. They were to ride from the house to the park, maybe about 100 yards away, but on roads. And I was teaching them the stop signs. We started the road we ride on. I just walked in the middle of them, and they rode from the house to the park, and they spun around. I filmed them and sent them to their mom, you know, who was working. But now they can get out of the little cul-de-sac we've been training in, and they're little kids, and they're very confident. I'm getting them that, because eventually I will get on my bike, and all three of us will go, and we'll start going further, venturing out in the neighborhoods. I raised the saddle of the 9-year-old because now she's more confident. And now I raised it to her saddle height, because you can't really sit on it flat-footed. I had it to where she could do flat-footed. By raising it now, she has a better angle, and now she can really extend her knee. Now the 7-year-old one, I said, no, you're not ready yet. When you're more confident, because they start by sitting on the saddle, then push off. And I had to teach her, you can't sit on the saddle until you push off. Then you raise your rear and put it on the saddle. The 9-year-old's there. The 7-year-old can't wait to get there. But in a roundabout way, the point I'm trying to make is this. Instruction takes time. And so there's a way to talk to people to where they can receive it. Everybody learns differently. So here, we call it a common sense channel, because I don't talk over people's heads. I believe that if you understand something, you should be able to explain it to anyone. And you have to find different ways to do it. So sometimes I'm kind of repetitive, but that's the reason, because not everybody will get it. The people who get it get impatient. Same thing in school. So, you know, so Eric, I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much, because two things. This is allowing me now to say, okay, I've already told my wife, we get enough support here. I'll do this full time. And so we'll start doing different things. We'll start doing some other adventures. And, you know, the live sessions, really, you guys know the time that's involved. I love doing it. I love interacting. And the live sessions are here to stay because of this situation with Eric and Robert and Illick and all you guys, the patrons, you know. Even USMC 5900 early on was sent support to the channel. So I'm not going to call everybody's name. It's not possible. But all of you, I know you. I want you to know we appreciate it. Okay. Okay, so Michael Fernandez is Joaquin. Okay. Okay, cool. Good to know, man. You guys are you got me on my toes with all these names here. There's another guy named Hector Graticos. He's got like 3 or 4 names. You know, the Spanish guys have the paternal and maternal names and all that. I told him, pick a name. And this is Adolfo Del Rio from El Paso, Texas here. Welcome, my fellow Texan. Howard Bassey. Hello, Elder and everyone. Good to be here after missing the last 2 live sessions. I want to thank Eric Nell for answering on my previous question on ASOS bid. Just ordered the S&P Dynamic. Yeah, the biggest thing with the S&P Dynamic, you will need to move it a little further back than the standard saddles. I found that for me, the standard saddles, I was sitting 10 centimeters behind the bottom bracket. With the S&P, it's 11.5, so 1.5 centimeters. May not be true for everybody, but find your sweet spot. We've got videos on that. If you're having challenges, we can do it by remote fit. So just know, be patient and get yourself dialed in. I love them. I'm sold. You know, so you know that. I got 3 of them. I got the new one ordered for the blue bike. And let's see here. Jeffrey Davis is answering Jesse's thing about where you pee. He said tree line if you're not near facilities. Well, I'm glad he mentioned that. What I want to state is that when Paul and I are riding, anytime there's a quiet road, let's say we're on the highway, like where we took those pictures, there's a quiet road. Some places they have like pasture, and the house might be 200 yards away from the highway with tree line driveway. We'll go in there and pee. You know, I don't even unclip. I just lean the bike over and pee and go. That's what you've seen the pros in Europe by the side of the road. They just, their foot still clipped in and just pee outside the city, you know, because it's not populated. You know, it's just, if you need to pee, you need to pee. I mean, usually every couple of hours, but in the winter, there's more. That's why in the winter, I do not use just water. Everything I carry is an electrolyte mix. Because I want the energy. The energy keeps you warmer in the winter. And we carry those granola bars. We really love them. The crunchy, I think it's Nutri-Grain. I got one of them here. Nature Valley, this one here. That's a fruit and nut. And then there's a green one. Same Nature Valley, but it's a little thicker. And there's 2 slices and it's crunchier. This one is kind of like a sticky. That's what we carry. And sometimes I'll carry the banana bread that I put the recipe on the channel for. I cut them up, put them in a sandwich bag. Having that solid food in addition to the gel, that's what we carry. In fact, we went to Richard's on that epic ride with a storm, and we found at the store they had beef jerky. It was kind of a ripoff, but I tell you what, I saw the beef jerky and said, let me try that. I just had a taste for it. Our bodies needed it. They had 2 strips of jerky for $2.75. I was like, okay, so I grabbed one, I tasted it, Paul's like, I said, it's good. He grabbed another bag. And so we had those 4 pieces, but it was something about it. My body needed it. I don't, you know, we've been riding so much. And it just went down so well. In fact, I got my wife doing research on finding people that do deer jerky and other things so we can get some jerky in the house. I'll start taking it on these rides because I've enjoyed these long rides and I want to keep it up, definitely on the weekends, at least 4 to 5 hours. That's another reason why we're stingy with the time. We leave here at 6:45. By 11:45, that's 5 hours. So I figured by noon to 12:30, we'll be home. Keeps the peace, you know. Then my wife can go do what she wants to do. I can take over and take care of the kids. You know, that's how we do it. That's why you can't, it's unfair to show up at a group ride with problems and expect people to wait for you. And Jesse, since you're here, Jesse Davis, these are the things, Jesse, that you need to be aware of. Your bike needs to be ready, not just for group rides, for your ride. You don't want mechanicals. You don't get up and say, I'm going to go work on my bike. No, you get up and say, I'm going to go ride. So we rode in the rain. The bike came. I wiped the tubes, looped the chain. Boom. We went out. I went out today on the same. I'm taking the Colnago. And since I know it's going to rain, when I got back from the ride this morning, just a little spin at about 10:30 or so, I put the mud guards on the Colnago, checked the chain. It didn't need any lube because we use wet lube. I added wet lube. It's thicker, doesn't get washed off. And so the bike's ready for the road. So if my bike's not ready, I'm not comfortable. And when there's a problem, as soon as I get home, as soon as possible, I address it. So for the next ride, I just get on the bike. No worries. You know, that's what you must do. Always keep your bike ready. If you can't work on it yourself, take it to the shop right away so they can get it ready because you'll be in line at the shop. You know, other people there. So keep that in mind. Let's see here. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody because I jumped straight to Eric. So I'm backtracking here. This is Jeffrey saying good evening. Yeah, Jeffrey Davis. Larry Earp. Larry Earp from Philly in the house. Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. The Liberty Bell is there also. Let's see here. All right. Cycling T Home. I was asking if doing that would make. Okay. So Cycling T Homes, I had mentioned something about changing his stem, moving his saddle back. And so he comes back. He says, I was asking if doing that would take a little strain off the knees. Say if somebody was having knee pain, would putting them further back on the bike relieve some strain in the knee? No, not necessarily. Sometimes going too far back can create pain. If you're having pain in your knee right now, yes, something's wrong with your fit that's causing the pain. And here's the thing. Many things can cause the same symptoms. If the saddle's really low, you can have pain in the knee. If the saddle's too high, you can have pain in the knee. So the pain can be in front or behind. You see, so that's why you got to be really careful. And that's why I like to get people's numbers before I give them advice. So it sounds like your current fit is causing you knee pain. You should never have knee pain. All of you who've been on the channel, you know that. And I take that seriously because you guys know I cover my knees. And I was telling you, Christian's wife was joking, teasing me, saying that I was dressed like I was going to climb Mount Everest. I don't play with it because you only got a pair. There's no spare. And so if you leave your knees exposed in the cold, later on you can have arthritis or other things. So no, I cover my knees. So yeah, if you're having knee pain, please address it. The average fit is between $200 to $350. Unless you're doing something more where they charge around $500 or whatever. But it's worth it than any doctor is going to charge you to do surgery or whatever. You know that. So get a fitter in your area, hopefully somebody that has good references, not at a bike shop, a fit studio that will address the stuff there. People that will ask you questions. Now, you're going to have to do some research. Or if you're not comfortable with that, do our remote fit. But don't play around with it. You're not supposed to have any pain. Think about it. I've ridden 320 miles this week. I'm sitting here chatting with you like it's no, and tomorrow I plan to do at least 100. Paul, hint, hint. Yeah, it's Saturday. It's Saturday after all, according to Katie. Saturday, you got to go long. That's when people can go. That's when most racers can go. During the week, everybody's working, doing other things. So they do indoor stuff or do short things in the neighborhood. Sometimes during the season, they'll do a hammer fest on Tuesday and Thursday. They're short, but they're hard and fast. And then Saturday, they go long. And then Sunday, put an endurance ride in. That's how you maintain your fitness. Now is the time to build your endurance. That's why we're riding like this. We will carry this base into the year because we'll have a strong base to be able to handle the heavier workload. And when we're starting to go fast, it's going to be like we're like little vehicles on the road. We're moving. So yeah, so no, please get that thing dealt with. Don't speculate. Don't play around. You don't know what you're doing. Your saddle back should be to put you in the position, but it starts with your saddle height first, then your fore aft, and then your cleats. That's the 2 contact point. Once you get that happy, then you work on your cockpit and start messing with stems. It's expensive to just buy stems, so you don't want to do that. Okay, so Michael Fernandez says Joaquim is his first name. So his name is Joaquim Michael Fernandez, I guess. So that's a maternal and paternal name or something like, that's his middle name. But I know that some people got 4 names, like Contador and them. They got 4 names, Dev Miller, does a spin bike efficient? Okay, I think he means it's a spin bike as efficient as a trainer. I do have a trainer too, but the carbon crop flex too much in the trainer. I don't see the trainer hurting your bike. So I don't know what kind of trainer you have. I prefer, the people I train, Jesse, one of them, I prefer you ride your bike. Jesse Davis had been telling me that when he would ride his bike on the trainer, he was uncomfortable. When he was on the road, he was fine. I said it should be the same unless something's off with the level on the floor in the house or whatever. So no, it's better to ride your bike on the trainer because you're working the muscles the same way. Okay, now it doesn't mean that you can't use a spin bike, but it will get you pretty close, but it will not be exact. You know, they've gotten them to where they're pretty decent, like the Peloton bikes that come with a smaller saddle and so forth. But for me, I'd much rather be on my bike. I want to hit those muscles the same way because, like this guy with Cycling T Holmes, I've never had any knee problems, but if my position is off, my knee will hurt. I was telling Paul the other day, if I go out below 10C and I don't cover my knees will hurt during the ride. It just happens in cold weather. I did not grow up in temperate areas. I grew up in a tropical place. Maybe that has to do with it, but that's why I cover my knees. It's uncomfortable below 10C. So I like to hit the muscles the same way, same angles. And I think that's just because cycling is very specific. You know, you want to hit your quads the same way and your hamstrings and calves. You know, plus I just love the way my bike feels. So yeah, I wouldn't be buying a spin bike. I know some people go to spin classes. You know, when you travel and stuff like that, yeah, I used to do that, but I would use high cadence. I never pushed in the hotel gyms. And then I did a lot of swimming when I would travel to work your lungs. Because swimming builds, it's a tough workout. So yeah, I would prefer you put your bike on the trainer. The trainer won't hurt the carbon. I haven't seen it. I haven't heard of it. I mean, you know, you see the pros warming up for time trials, they're on trainers. Yeah, the carbon is tough. You know, it has its moment. When it reaches its limit, it pops. It doesn't bend. But it takes a lot to get it there. So they're not, you know, the only problem is when you have a crash, sometimes you don't know if there are fractures and things. That's the thing with carbon bikes. You can't really tell, but I don't think the trainer will hurt it. All right, let's see. Jeffrey Davis, I listen, learn, and then get results. David Brunati, you're right about flag, but I live in Germany. Keep up your enthusiasm. Always helps. Yeah, okay. An Italian in Germany. That's cool. Rodolfo Ramirez, how you doing? He says hi to everybody. Ron on your left retired. Hi, Ron from Arkansas. Ron is just north of Texas here. Arkansas is a neighboring state. Texas is a huge state. It's about as big as the country of France. So fake star, Morning Eldred. So he must be maybe in the land down 8 a.m. in SG, Singapore? I don't know. All right. Wow, we got another USMC super chat. I will jump to him. Sounds like peeing while clipped in is next on the challenge list. No, what I mean is, okay, there are two things about it. These guys, you guys are just catching me off guard. Some people can pee while riding. We used to do that. You hold that saddle. They didn't want to stop, and you hold that saddle and they will pee. You know, I've never been able to relax enough to do that. So I'm one of those I have to stop. But I keep one foot clipped in, you know, put the bike, because I don't like to walk in the leaves and the mud. Your cleats pick up stuff. So I keep one foot on the pavement on the edge of the road. I put the bike tire in the grass and pee in the grass while clipped in with one foot on the bike. That's what I meant. I didn't mean sitting, rolling and peeing. But there are people that do that. And actually, it's kind of messy because they pee on themselves. So you got to be careful with that. So my wife's beeping me, I sent her a movie of my daughter riding, the 7-year-old, just riding extensively. And she said she loved it. I sent her 2 clips. While I was doing that, Apple wanted me to upgrade my hard drive on iCloud for, I think, 99 cents a month or some crap like that. I don't know what's there. I have to check to see. I don't store too much stuff out there that said I was at my limit. It's just the videos that I probably hadn't deleted. Yeah, thank you, USMC. I appreciate it. Let's see here. We've got Nico. I remember Nicholas asked that we call him Nico. Nico, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Welcome, Nico, a super legend. Jesse Davis says, okay, awesome. Thanks, man, for all you do. Have a great day. I guess Jesse's going. Yeah, Jesse, keep watching and send me those emails. Jesse's one of the guys that I mentioned. He's signed up for coaching. He's got potential, but I want him to be patient. You know, Jesse's ready to race. He's not there. I don't want him to be disappointed. Racing is hard. It's harder if you're not prepared. You know, so Nico, he's a high master legend, and everyone. A question. I'm training both high cadence and heavy low cadence. What about the old school racers in Jan Ulrich? Okay. Everybody has a preferred cruising cadence per se. I know you're talking about when Jan raced against Lance, and Lance was spinning because after his illness, he lost a lot of muscle and weight, so he changed his pedaling style. You have to find what works for you. Now, I'm going to focus more on what you're talking about training, high cadence and low cadence. I have workouts where people do leg speed, you know, spin out, or leg speed 110, 150, 120. That gives you acceleration, close gaps, break away, open gaps. That's acceleration. That's not cruising. Okay. As far as the big gear stuff, the parts of the workout, those of you who have our training plans don't want to talk about, like Wesley, Steven, and them. There's a workout in the base plan that says big gear, low cadence. And then you target zone 2 to zone 3, where you're loading your legs. They call it muscular endurance workouts. It's like weight training on the bike. I prefer that than going to the gym because I tend to get bulked up with extra muscles I don't use on the bike. So I think that's what you're talking about. So you do those workouts, and I don't know what workout you're doing, but you need to do those workouts to where you do the muscle work for a short time, then you revert to your cruising cadence so your brain and legs don't forget. And there are intervals. And what that will do is you will load. It's like you overcompensate in a heavy gear, low cadence, then you come back to the gears you normally use. So let's say 53-13 into the wind on a flat road, and you want to shoot for 50 to 60 RPMs thereabouts. You do enough of those for a period of time, and then during the rest intervals, you go back. But there are days when you want to just lower the gear and teach your body, your mind, and your legs how to pedal really fast, 110 plus, without bouncing, being smooth. That's the high cadence workout. And regardless of what gear you do it in, once your body learns that, when you need to do it in a 53-17 in the right conditions, you will be smooth as you turn it. You see the videos where I'm turning 110, 108, whatever. I don't think about it. I just need to instantly get somewhere, and instead of shifting, I just turn that gear to where until it gets too easy, then I shift up and turn the next one. Because by doing it that way, you're not overloading your legs when you're with your mates. Because if you try to do that 50 to 60 workout, heavy gear with your mates, you will get dropped because your muscles need more time to recover than your lungs. And when you spin, you tax the aerobic system more. So you accelerate with the aerobic system, and you try to maintain with the muscular system by balancing and blending and finding your cruising cadence. That's the challenge. That's why cycling is still exciting for me after all these years. You never master it because you're dealing with all these complicated things, and then the weather and the terrain out of your control. You know, that's the thing. So yes, that's the reason. Now, as far as Jan preferred to carry larger gears in the mountains. That's just the way he rode. The problem is that he could not keep up with the changes in speed that Lance would do, or some of the other climbers, the lighter climbers. They use more cadence. They don't have the muscle mass anyway. But in a time trial, Jan would pull away from everybody. Jan was always very competitive in the time trial because it's flat. In a time trial, you're cruising like 6th gear in a car. Spinning in a time trial excessively, it's not efficient. You have to cruise. It's cruising like in a car. You don't keep it in 3rd gear. You shift up and get to overdrive. So Jan would excel in the flats, and he was still pretty good in the climbs. He was just going up against a guy who was just better. You know, that's just the way it is. So, you know, you have to know you. And I'm glad you put that question there, because Paul and I was talking about it. Paul and I do a lot of chatting when we're riding for hours. You know, we get to talk about these things. The reason you get a coach, the reason I got a coach when I was training and racing is to get to know me. That's why when people sign up, the first thing I want them to spill their guts on the site. The form is so long, a lot of people don't even want to fill it up. They'll sign up and pay and don't send me the form. And then I will get the payment, and I'm like, where's the questionnaire? Then I'll have to contact them and say, you know, then they got to go back and fill it out. It's extensive because I got to get to know you so we can both learn who you are. If you don't know who you are, you're not going to know when to back off. You're not going to know when, you know, my body doesn't like 130 RPMs for too long. You got to learn that. That's what I mean. That's what cycling is about. So don't just go out and do stuff. Find out what your body likes. You can try those things, but then find out what works for you. And then you do those things that work for you when it matters, you know, in a big ride or a group ride you care about. Do the experimental stuff when you train so you can know how I don't like that or my body doesn't react to that too well. So then you know what not to do. You're not going to see me chasing a light climber up a climb. I'm going to put it in a pace, get near time trial pace, and try to draw them back like a fish on a hook. I won't be jumping with the accelerations, knowing that I can catch them on the descent of the flats. That's what I mean when I say you got to get to the. I'm a big guy. I'm 86 kilos. I'm not going to chase a 67 kilogram good climber. That doesn't make sense. That's not my terrain. You know, I can climb okay. So I know that. And that's what you got to know yourself. Know yourself. That's the key to cycling or any sport. Know yourself. Know your capabilities and know which terrain favors you. You've probably heard about it. Like Sagan at the World Championship. At the end, late in the race, he just stopped because that last climb, he was like, I'm not going to be able to get up there with those guys. He's just not built like that, you know. And so you need to know yourself, and it's okay to know that this terrain does not favor me. So you just stay under control until you get to where. Cycling is all about timing, knowing when to go. So let me move on here. All right. Fake Star, I agree. Stop less and continue riding. Yeah. Michael Fernandez, I just changed my cassette and my bike chain by myself. It felt so good. Make sure you made that chain long enough. I err on the side of making the chain almost touch the rear derailleur in the small. That's why I do it. I like a little extra. I like the chain to move freely and those, you know, the crank arms to turn when you let it go. Less watts. So don't make it too tight. So that's good. It's good to work on your own bike. So you don't have to wait for the bike shop to take 3 days later, and then sometimes you get it, it's still not perfect. So that's good. Pat yourself on the back. It's a good feeling of accomplishment. Fake Star 45. You mentioned to me before that just keep riding and naturally I'll improve. It's just less than a month. I feel it. Okay, here's the thing. And I suspect you've been consistent. The body thrives on consistency. Think about it. If you don't eat every day, your energy levels, and you know, you can't go. I shouldn't say every day. I would say if you miss meals in a day, you guys know that. You work at the office. I've been there, done that. You're at the office, you're in meetings and this and that, and they're working through lunch. And at the end of the day, you know, sometimes my stomach would literally hurt when you miss meals. Then everything looks good, and you end up eating crap. And then you feel like crap after you've eaten, you know? So yeah, consistency, the body loves that. So back to training. You're going to eat every day, do something every day. It doesn't mean that you have to ride 7 days a week. Schedule time to ride because your time belongs to you and you decide what to sell. So when you take a job, you decide, okay, I'm going to give them 8 hours. I don't know who came up with 8 hours anyway. It needs to be renegotiated. That's a third of the day. You give them 8 hours. Stick to that 8 hours. And then that's theirs. After work, you got to have something to do. When I was in corporate America, when 8 hours was up, I'd take off. The people used to take pride in working all these hours. I tell them, I got a life. This is just a job. See you guys later. And then we had this thing where when you were on salary, we're salaried because they would always spring overtime on you because you're salaried. But then they have what they call compensatory time, meaning that If you had to work a Saturday or if you have to work overtime, you were supposed to get the time back the next week. But whenever you tried to, it was frowned upon. Yeah, needless to say, I wasn't very popular because I took it back. Yeah, because if you don't, you lose it, because then it gets to be every week. It's the same. They put it on the paper, but they don't want to follow through. Time is precious. We have a finite. Everyone has a finite amount of time. We don't have a lease. We don't know how long we're here for. So all you have are moments. Enjoy them. Enjoy every moment, like every day, like it's your last. Get up in the morning. If you love playing golf, go play your golf. And then go to work or whatever. Schedule it. My rides are scheduled. I have it on a board downstairs in the studio. It's written as far as a plan, what I'd like to do every week. I just keep it there for the days of the week. I have 5 days I want to ride. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Those are riding days. It doesn't mean I don't ride on Monday or Friday. Like today, I needed to loosen up. My legs were very tight. We've been riding a lot. They felt like rocks. Even Paul used the phrase. It felt hard. And it's like a massage on the bike. My wife knows that. For Christmas, she got me this thing to go to a spa where they do deep tissue. And then she said they do stretching if you request it. I haven't had time to book it, but I kept the certificate. I will take advantage of it. All of that helps to knead the toxins out of the muscles and all that. But an easy ride takes care of that. It's pretty close, like a massage on the bike. So yeah, ride consistently, because you're not going to become a champion now because you're riding consistently. If you want to take it to the next level, then you need structure. You need to do certain things in that ride. When Paul and I ride, we don't just ride, we train. And what that means is we're training certain systems. We might ride 6 hours, and then we have it. Every hour we do something different. When we went to Richards, we hammered every hill. Every time the road went up, it was like we're attacking them. I would tell him, we got to work here, make your legs hurt. So you can't just ride casually then want to keep up with guys who hammer. Then you say, so even though you're doing the same hours they are, you're not doing the work they're doing. So if you're just riding casually and that's what you want to do, that's fine. But remember that and stay with that. If you want to step up to be a little more competitive now, you got to start doing some harder efforts so your body is ready for that. That's the key. So it's not so much how much you ride, it's how you ride for whatever your goals are. But you still need to be consistent. That's the key. So yeah, you're finding out. That's great. Let's see here. The Continental tire you mentioned comes only in size 25. I think I put that on the recommended cycling products in the tires section. If you do hashtag veloharmony.com/recommended cycling products, hashtag tires. The Continental Grand Prix Classic is only made in 25 millimeter. I put it on the Colnago because of the looks, and I have fallen in love with the ride. It's very, very compliant. It's not a Victoria or anything. I mean, like the Evo is not high TPI, but it's not a dog. So it's great. That's what I've been riding all these miles, and it's only Colnago. Yes, it only comes into. That's how they make it 25, which I think is cool. So I have it in the front and the back. 25, 28, that's what I ride. 23, I put in the front. I don't put 23 on the rear because I got a bunch of 23s I gotta wear out. They've been here. And so I use that in the blue bike because I'm restricted because of the shape of the way the angle of the fork, and my Campagnolo brake on that blue bike will not take a 25. The tire will rub on the brake caliper. So that the fork is okay, but the brake caliper. So yeah. So yes, 25, that's what they make. And go to the site. It's on there. That's a way of supporting the channel too. It will take you to Amazon. They got a pretty good price. John Hill, hi from Muskegon, Michigan. Welcome. Chris Roxbury. Paul, have you tried the SMP yet? Paul has an SMP, Chris. Okay. That's all Paul rides. All his bikes are SMP. John Marino. Hello, brother Eldred. Greetings to all. Hey, John. Let's see. Jeffrey Davis says, vote. Are we officially addressing Eldred as Master Legend? Now, Eldred's good enough for me. Cycle Jockey just started doing that. I think he just liked the lingo. I don't mind, whatever. But Eldred's good enough. Let's see, Carlos looks like I don't want to slaughter his name. Shabauer or something like that. Greetings from Montreal, Canada. Okay. Your countryman to what's his name? The guy used to ride for Motorola. What's his name? He and Claude Kirkirian had a crash in the World Championship. Steve Bauer. His last name is the last 5 letters of your name. Steve Bauer, one of your very successful Canadian racer back in the day with Lance and them. John Marino, like your Kish titanium bike, I got a custom 7 titanium MTB, also custom steel road bike. I'm 6 feet 3 inches with long reach, so I usually need custom. So do I. I'm 6'2", and these are like 36. So a lot of the bikes that when I used to race, there were Italian bikes, Pinarello, that we would get as team bikes. And we had to put long stems on them, sometimes 14 for me. They had quill stems at the time. I didn't keep any of those bikes. I gave them away. We got one every year, so it was nice. Rossin Ghibli, a lot of Italian, just, glitzy bikes. The funny thing is I had a Cannondale that fit me better than all those bikes. And a Cannondale weighed 30 pounds. It fit me better. It's always that. It's always that way. So, yeah. Custom actually ends up working out. It's not that much. It's not expensive compared to the bikes on the shelf, the good ones. The Kish bike the frame was about $4,000. I only bought the frame, and now we have a relationship. I've been sending people to him to where he was like, I like when you send people because when you send the numbers, I only have to do one drawing, because people I send, I fit them, and then I send the numbers, and the bike's ready to go. So we're working with Kish now. He's one of our sponsors. I like his bike. I will be getting another one, God willing, in the future. I want something for gravel. There are roads that Paul and I have seen on the map, and we haven't been able to explore on these road bikes. I don't want gravel chipping my paint and all that kind of crap on some of the bikes that we carry, like they call Nago or the blue bike. So we don't do a lot of gravel, but it'd be nice to get a bike where you can explore some of those roads that are unpaved in the areas we ride. All right, let's see here. Frisman. Yes, General. The legions are listening. Spread the knowledge and good health. Thank you. Appreciate that. David Brunati. David. I think it's David. There was a racer named David Rebellin. Used to ride with Michael Balan, Marino Argentina, and them. I love those days. I get goose pimples. There were no power meters. These boys just, they put down the power. These are the kind of miles, 20 to 20. We're doing 20 to 25 hours a week. This is top amateur pro mileage we're doing, guys. So in a month or so on those rides, it's going to be balls out. This channel is going places. I'm telling you, the kind of mileage we're doing. This guy, Jerry Leitner, or whatever, I hope I pronounced his name right. He's on Strava making us look bad. I thought I was bad. This guy, 174 kilometers on a Friday. What the heck he's going to do tomorrow and Sunday? I was like, man, I was tired today. This guy, he went all the way to Anderson. I was like, man, we're going to have to step it up, Paul. And our wives are going to throw us out of the house. Let's see here. David says, what if your FTP changes between the flat and climb? Can you really put out more power on the climbs? I don't believe you have a different FTP for the climbs and the flat. You just work differently. The power you can put out is the power you can put out. That's the whole point of training with calculations based on functional threshold power. Those of you who don't know may not be familiar with what FTP is. People that train to power meters or watt meters, whatever you call them, they use a functional threshold power that you calculate by doing a threshold test. And the effective rate of work for 20 minutes minus 5% is what we use to calculate their zones. And as you improve, we recalculate. The test is not fun. So, you know, you got to go full gas for a half hour, thereabouts. You know, so yeah, it should be about the same. You're going to feel differently because when you're climbing, it's different. It's a different dynamic than on the flats. On the flats, I use more cadence, higher cadence per se. On the climbs, I drop my cadence. It's more of a force because you're fighting gravity. That's why it feels different. So you seem to get there quicker. That's why you got to be more conservative. On the flat, you can cheat because why? When you let off the power, you're still rolling. So you don't lose that much speed, especially if you're in the draft. That's why it feels a little easier. It takes a little longer to get there because you can roll. On the climbs, there's no cheating. You get there because you're doing the work. That's why you got to be conservative on the climbs. Good climbers don't go crazy because they know. They may attack, but then they settle back down. If you watch the pro riders, they will be scattered all over the mountain. And then all of a sudden, the guy who was way back would have come and passed people who were ahead. So, yeah, you got to know yourself once again. So, no, it's the same. It's the same. You just get there quicker on the climb. So, if you're doing an FTP test and you have climbs, it's better to just do it on the climb because you don't have to fight to keep it there because you know how on the flat you let off and then your power drops. On the climb, you got to keep pedaling or you stop. Okay, hope that helps. Let's see here. I'm skipping Paul's and Chris chat. Okay, don't believe in your own hype says, good day, Eldred. Legends and super legends from the land down under another Australian. The Australians are coming. We had the Italians coming a few weeks ago when Stefano Mancini was here. Randy Hongo. Hi, all. I'm late today because I was getting my Ks in. Hey, you're not late. You're right on time. The Ks are important. Get your Ks in. Yeah. I hope you're doing the Festive 500. I already ordered my badge. It's coming in. They change the badge color every year. I'm going to put that on that jersey. You guys saw the badge I stitched. I'm going to have those badges all over that jersey. Noel Pagan. How you doing, Noel? Don't believe in your own hype says, thoughts on bike fitters who are also physiotherapists. I don't know any, but yeah, I don't see why that. I don't see the link per se, but I think it helps knowing the human body. I'm not a physiotherapist, but I understand physiology. So yeah, I think it's a plus. You have to know. The bottom line, whether they're certified physiotherapists, find a fitter that talks to you during the fit because you're being fitted, not them. Don't find fitters that have this attitude like you're just supposed to take what they do. They should solicit what you feel because fit is what you feel. I can't feel for you. I can fit myself better than anybody because I can feel the feedback when I plant myself on the saddle. So that's where I learn. I learn with me. And that's why I started reverse engineering all the crap that talk about fit kit and all that. They don't work for everybody. All these rules like knee over pedal axle. That's where I started discovering that's a old wives' tale. If it works for you, it's just chance. You know, my knee, when you drop a plumb line, is 1.5 centimeters behind the pedal axle. That's where my body likes to be. So don't fall for that. All those rules, generalizations don't usually apply across the board in anything. So yeah, let's see. Nicholas Smith says hi from the UK. Welcome. That's late in the UK there. Let's see. 6 o'clock. So it's probably about almost midnight. About 6 hours, I think. Happy New Year's from Toledo, Ohio. Trek Rider 101. Happy New Year to you. Rest in peace says free 6IX9 or keep. I'm not sure what that means. You're going to have to clarify. I don't think there's a limit on your chat. So you're going to have to be more specific. I'm not sure what 6IX9 or keep 6LX9. Free or keep. Trek Rider 101. Do you like Trek bikes? Yeah, they're fine. You know, like all the other ones are kind of pricey. Yeah, the bikes are, they're charging too much for the limited sizes they're providing. That's my issue with all the manufacturers. If I'm going to be spending thousands, the bike needs to fit me well. They're charging more than the custom guys are charging. And I guess that's why the custom guys are successful now. And that's why Calfee started making custom carbon frames. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. Calfee, C-A-L-F-E-E, and Kestrel, K-E-S-T-R-E-L, started, they were carbon pioneers. They're the originators per se in the industry. And they make high quality bikes. So you can get a custom bike from Calfee. You don't need to be settling for a specialized VINs that may be 73.5 and you need a 72. And I think even Cervelo now is making 71 degrees seat tubes. I'd have to confirm, but I read in an article that they provide more shallow angles for taller riders. So you can use your correct size frame and be able to set your saddle without going with a larger frame to get a shallower angle. Tall guys need shallower angles. It's not, the aggressive bikes they're not faster than the bike that fits you. And by aggressive, they have a tendency to imply that it's the seat. No, you can make a bike more aggressive by adjusting the fork rake and the head angle as far as the turn. But then you got to be careful, because then when we're turning in the parking lot, those of you who know, the tire can hit your shoe. You know, that when they get too aggressive. My Colnago, I got plenty of clearance. I can turn all I want. There's plenty of clearance, and I wear size 11 shoes. It doesn't even get near the tire because my fork on the Colnago is like that, not like this. That's the rake. So yeah, they get a little fancy and get too crazy. So when you're getting a custom bike, they ask whether you care about that or there's a concern. They call it overlap. But the classic geometry like Colnago, you don't have that problem. But it's all the new stuff they're getting too crazy with. I like a bike that fits me, because then I can do anything I want with it. That's the key. So they can play around with all that other stuff. It doesn't matter. You know, my blue bike, yeah, there's overlap, but how often does that bother you? Unless you're doing real tight turns in a parking lot. I usually on clip. So yeah, so it's not that much of an issue. Eric Jap. Hi, Eldred from Shanghai, China. Thanks for your answer the other day about numbness on the trainer. You're welcome. Eric Nelson, my girlfriend Dawn and I will be riding 100 miles tomorrow morning. Hey, I'm shooting for 100. We're going to be with you in spirit. We rode the Palomar Mountain Metric Century in October. Dawn is a great climber. I have a love-hate relationship with climbs. Well, just keep riding them. And the key is that pace yourself. Find a tempo and a gear. Keep your cadence 70 plus. Keep it supple. Let Dawn go. You don't have to jump on her wheel. Let her go. Let her ride her pace. You ride your pace. You'll get there. And the more you do it, it'll be more fun. Don't feel like you got to chase people on the climb. You saw me. I let Mo go. You know, he stood up. He wasn't trying to drop me. He stood up to check on those guys, and he just kept his gear rolling. And at that moment, my legs were protesting. I knew we were going to hit that highway. I was like, I just kept my tempo the same. The other guys came around me, and I still didn't try to stay with them. After a few rides with more in them, next time I'll be able to stay on his wheel. The kind of miles I'm putting in now, it's not any, you know. So those guys were so many levels above where I'd been riding. I hadn't ridden this much since 2002. That's 16 years. Because this is normal. This is what I used to do to compete. Pro 1, 2, 3. Those guys are elite riders. Those are Pro 1, 2, 3. And that's the thing. You're going to race. Find guys that race and ride with them. That's the best way to know whether you're ready to try a race. It's stressful enough going to those events. So at least you need to test yourself with the boys locally that do the races. You know. All right. Let's see here. Nico. Oh, Nicholas Smith, not Nico, not our Nico. Surely an FTP on a climb is slightly different than FTP on a flat because you're using a different muscle set. Not really. You're using the muscles differently, not a different muscle set. You know, you use the same muscles. You're just using them differently. That's why climbing gets you I've lost so much weight because I clicked on something on Strava and there's a climbing challenge, 8,000 meters. I didn't think, as soon as I clicked on it, it said congratulations, because I already had 8,000 meters. I didn't expect it because we don't have mountains, but we got a lot of spikes up and down. And the places we've been riding, I didn't realize I had to come. Then I told Paul, you need to join that challenge. I believe you've got that too, because it's for December on Strava. I like those because they let you know cumulative what you've been doing. Because we end up with ride those climbs. We don't think they're much. It adds up. So no, you use it differently. Don't worry about that. It doesn't matter. If you're riding with people, who cares what your FTP is? Either you can keep up or you can't. I think, people get too scientific on the bike. Just ride your bike. Don't worry too much about it. When your breathing changes, you're at FTP. That's it. Because, since you're using a power meter, you probably have a number. So until that number increases, you got to stay there. Because if you go too far over that number, you're going to have to slow down. You can't spend too much time in the red. That's why we ride like we do. When I get to my red, I'm alone. It takes a lot to get me to my red. That's why we ride like this, to push that ceiling. People think you got to go near the ceiling to push it. No, you're riding down here. It's making this zone big. So now it takes more work to get you to that ceiling. And that's what I meant when I said my legs are behind. So I got to let them rest to be able to push my heart. Because your heart is working differently now. My heart is saying, you're doing all this work. It's like, okay, come on, man. Make this interesting. Then my legs are like, we're tired. You piling on the miles. We need a rest. You got to rest your muscles so they can drive your heart, your aerobic system. They're the pistons. And so if your legs are tired, you're not going to even hit FTP. So there are different systems. You can't just, you don't worry too much about the numbers. Pay attention to how you feel. Because one day hitting 350 watts or whatever your FTP is might feel different than the next day, depending on what's been going on with you that week. So what you want to do is to replicate feeling good at FTP or getting to FTP. You want to go through the same pattern so that you know what you need to do to feel good for your fast rides. That's what training is about. That's what I mean when I say we train, we don't just ride. You want to duplicate regularly the same thing that worked for you. Because if you're just taking a stab at it, you don't know how you're going to perform. All right, let's see here. Eric Nell. Palomar Mountain is an 11-mile climb with an elevation of 5,000 feet. Yep. Cycle Jockey is a climber. I am hoping to improve my climbing ability and this is how to improve climbing efficiency. Just ride the hills, my brother, and keep your cadence up. Relax your body. I assume you have a good fit because you got to be smooth. That's what it takes because the pressure is on. There is no let up. You can't be scooting around doing stuff on the climb because you will lose momentum. And every time you slow down the climb, it takes more work to get going again. So you need to learn to relax. You want to climb better, you just ride the climbs and don't over gear. Pick a gear that you can handle so that your legs don't tighten up on you because you won't be able to recover if you go much below 70 RPMs. There are specific workouts you can do, but I don't really know where you are or what you're doing. I don't give those kind of advice here because I have to be careful to know what people's fitness levels and so forth. I don't want to give them something that's too hard for them and so forth. So if you need specific workouts for climbing, I can put something together for you, but you could probably try one of our base plans, which starts you out at 5 hours and then it builds you up, to get you there. Let's see here. Randy Hongo. I am indeed during the Festive 500. Good. Fake Star 45. Elder, thank you very much on your logical advice. I'm from Singapore. SG. Okay, that's what that means. Cool. Woke up at 4 a.m. for a short ride just now. You're about as bad as Paul. Paul gets up at 2. Gonna keep up my sleep a bit for now. Okay. You're welcome. That's what the channel's here for. Nicholas Smith, it's closer to 1 a.m. Okay. That's he's in the UK. USMC 5900. Okay, he's talking to somebody. Let's skip. Let's go down here. 6'9". It's a rapper. Troll comment. I have teens. He's on my no-go list. Okay. 699. Well, we're gonna have to block him. He needs to go somewhere where he's wanted. he's in a wrong community. He's gonna have to leave town by sundown. Let's put it that way. Okay, here we go. Max Roth, I have a 140-mile ride tomorrow. Oh, great. Make sure you take enough food and enjoy, man. Enjoy the sights. We messed with it. There was a donkey hanging out where we took the pictures on the last ride. I think it was, what ride was this? Thursday. There was a donkey hanging out with the cows. They're all just sitting there, you know, it's just hanging out. I'm like, look at it. You know, so I took a couple of pictures of them. Have you ever had time? This is from Trek Rider 101. Have you ever had time to do a week-long organized bike tour across any of our states? Nah, not really. I haven't done that. Done a lot of stage races and stuff, but no, not. I don't like to spend more than 8 hours on the bike. You know, like the race across America, those guys do. There was a guy named Rick Kent that was very good at it. That takes, yeah, they would sleep for a few hours in a van and then continue. And it was like a 24-hour thing. I don't know. I've never done that. I've never thought about that. Alberto Nunez. Hi, Master. Good year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Yeah, I finished the 500. I'm done. But I'm not stopping there. I mean, you know, I'm going to do at least another 200 miles in the next couple of days. You know, I want to do 400 miles this week. I'm already at 320. So yeah, we'll knock that out tomorrow. And then Sunday will be bonus. A 400-mile week doesn't come around every day. That's like 2002 was the last time I did that much riding. And it didn't seem like a lot of work because we built up to it all of December. So yeah, we rode in some tough weather though. Man, it was Wednesday. Wednesday was brutal. I'm talking just torrential rain and wind. And yeah, it was epic. It was epic, yeah. Let's see, USMC 5900. Not sure if my Garmin didn't update my power zones after I updated my FTP, but I adjusted them manually. It makes more sense now. Yeah, I don't even think I got zones in my Garmin. I know my zones. So when I'm riding, I don't pay much attention to it until my feelings change. So let's say I'm riding and I hit a climb and my legs start to scream. Then I'll glance at the heart rate and say, what's going on? And then my heart rate might be 145 or something. I'm like, why are my legs hurting at 145? Oh, yeah, you're doing a 300-mile week. You know, that's kind of what, and that's what most riders do. I don't look at that stuff when I'm riding. I'm paying attention to the road. I'm reading where my tires are, the holes, those cars, you know, whatever. That's what I'm looking at. I only glance at that thing. I do my analysis when I get home. And then I look at what was going on with my heart rate. But I'm paying attention to what my legs were doing when we hit those climbs. That's why we went back to Richards. All the climbs were coming so fast. So we went back and we hammered them. So we're ready. Let's see here. Missing 50 kilometers in Portugal. I'm not sure what that is. Alberto Nunez. Do you like noisy free hubs or no? They all go crazy. There's a sound there. I don't pay much attention to them. Mine, yeah, they make that sound. I think that's just the way they are. I think some people, if you put thicker grease on some of them, I know once you build them, they're quieter for a while. But then when the grease thins out, they're fine. Some of them, yeah, they all sound different. You get a Campy free hub, it sounds differently than another one. I've got my eye on, I don't know if I pronounced it correctly. It's made by Mavic, Keyserium Elite, Kyserium, I think. I saw some on eBay. I've did some reading on it. And I like to get wheels off of eBay because people buy wheels and then they're like, "Oh, I didn't ride much and I want to unload it." You can get a $700 wheel for like two something. You know, it's pretty good price, and they don't use it much. And so there's a place called the Pro Source. They sell a lot of stuff that they use in races, and then they unload. They're in Boulder. That's where it ships from. So you can get some deals, but they're aluminum rims, nothing fancy, but they're built really well. They're light and stiff. I've read the reviews. It's good to see that they're still making good aluminum rims. That's really good to see because I just like them. They're just light. And so I got my eye on that one. And I'll see, you know, it looks almost like the Zondas, but it's higher quality, supposedly, stiffer, lighter. You know, kissier them. They make different. They got some that will take what they call these tubeless tires. They call them UTS or something. Got different names that they put on there. I just want the regular ones, and they take 25. They're wider rims, so they'll hold the 25, and they ride comfortably. I read some of the review from road.cc, road cycling.cc. It's pretty good. You know, so instead of paying $750, if I can get it for $200. Good price. Yeah. So let's see here. Thief Van Thiefson, unusual name. What do you think about Zwift for the winter time? I've never used it. I wouldn't pay for Zwift. I just don't see why I need to ride with people I don't know. So I'd much rather be outside. That's why I bought all my kit. So I get out when I can. When I can't, I put on the trainer and turn on YouTube. It's free. So I believe you pay for Zwift. So I don't know. If whatever gets you riding, if that's some people need that and that works for you, that's great. But I just err on the side of only paying for things I have to. The more things you tie into financially can strain your time for the things you really want to do. Because then you got to work to pay Zwift. So you're working for Zwift, not you. So no, I don't. I have no interest in Zwift. There was a guy here, Jose Santiago, that, "Oh, when am I going to see you on Zwift?" I say, "Yeah, when you get me a Zwift account." You know, I've got other things to do with money. I want to buy me some rims that I'm talking about, wheel set. So yeah, if it's something that's, you know, you want to try, that's fine. But I don't like monthly things that are not critical. You know, you don't need it to ride your bike. Go out and ride with your mates. Everybody's online now. So now we got online dating and all this crap because we don't talk to each other. The other day, Paul and I stopped at a park. People sitting right on the bench. We're going to get water from the fountain near the area where we live. I say, "Hey, how you all doing? You guys know me." I don't care. I'm right there. They're right there. They didn't answer. I'm like, what kind of people are these? You know, what is wrong with? Now, if something were to happen, they'd need my help. You know, this is rude. Where do these social skills come from to where another person says hi and you're looking them in the face, you don't answer? And I looked them in the face, and then we walked to the fountain. You know, no skin off of me. I could care less, but it's like, that's why I told Paul, that's why they go online to date, because they don't talk to anybody. So they got to go online to meet people, because the people they meet physically, they don't talk to them. You got a country, the U.S., of 300-something million people who are online dating. I mean, really? You might want to step outside once in a while. Oh, man, I don't know where I got into that one, but yeah, it's just funny. I laugh all the time. Anyway. All right. Let's see. This is Kenneth Daniels. He says, "Hello. What made uses the..." Okay, I'm going to have to paraphrase, I think. He's talking about the 4mm pedals. I'm not sure what he means. "I just some extensions because one of my knees kick out slightly to try if it works. I would just go and buy the SPD Ultegra 4mm pedals." Okay, I think he's talking about the 4mm extensions that are on. That's what I use, the Shimano Dura-Ace plus 4mm. That's not to correct anything. It's just to give you more space between your foot and the crank arm. because some people have a wider foot. You know, the shoes that I mean, I have a medium foot, nothing unusual. I don't need a large shoe, but I cannot use Specialized because they're so narrow and they just constrict your toes. So I use Giro, or I can use Lake, or I can use Shimano because they have a wide toe box. When I used to race back in the day, they had shoes called Carnacs. They had a wide toe box. And so Shimano adds the 4 millimeters so that the side of your shoe does not rub on your crank arm as you pedal. We had a guy that we used to ride with called Mustard with UMC. His feet rubbed on the crank arm so much, it rubbed the anodization off the crank arm and rubbed a hole in his shoe. That's what that's for. If you're having problems from what I'm reading with your foot, you may need some kind of shim or something. You may want to consider getting a fit professionally done so they can correct the issue you're having. Or you may be a candidate for SPD pedals that has, not SPD, what they call them, Speed Play, that has more adjustability than the 3-bolt systems. Maybe. I mean, if they can dial you in with that. But it sounds like you have something you're trying to address with that 4 millimeter. That's not going to solve that. That's not what it's for. It just gives you more clearance between your shoe and the crank arm. Let's see here. USMC, you mentioned USMC 5900 says, you mentioned maybe getting a gravel bike. What would you change from your current custom bike? Oh, that's a great question. Told my buddy already. Yes, my current custom bike requires me to use a 14 centimeter stem, I think actually 15 centimeter stem from Triple T to get me where I want to be. So in another bike, and that's why I will get it from Kish, I will extend the length of my top tube. That's the only thing I will change. And then I will tell him to lift where the brake is attached, because I use regular brakes, or maybe go with cantilever or whatever. But raise it up because I want to be able to carry 32 millimeter tires. If I'm going to be riding on gravel, 32 would be perfect for that. It doesn't slow you down that much. I don't worry about that. People worry too much about going, you know, you're not going to, when you're strong, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. You know, like the lady, I think it was a lady, Ishik, was talking about optimal tire weight for the rider, optimal tire pressure for the weight. You know, it doesn't matter. When you get going, you just get going, get to the business of going. When I'm on my Colnago, which weighs 21 pounds, versus the orange bike, which weighs 17, I don't think about the weight. I just go, you know. And on Sunday, when we rode with those guys, I had the Colnago. It's 4 pounds heavier. And Christian and I took off the front, chasing some guy, messing around. I didn't think about it. You just do what you got to do. People split hairs. Now, if I'm doing a mountain time trial where gravity is there and it means something to me, yeah, then you consider, okay, I'm going to get the lightest possible bike so I don't lose 30 seconds or whatever. There is a thing. But when you're riding with guys, when I'm riding, I don't feel the bike. It doesn't feel any heavier. It actually feels very comfortable. So, yeah, I would change the top tube only. Everything else will stay the same. I would tell them just extend it about 3 centimeters so I can run a 12. They're easier to find. You know, 15 is hard to source. And so, yeah, that would be the reason. It was handled the same because the way he did the fork rate, I'm using an NV fork. And if you drop a plumb line from the stem straight down, it splits the hub. That's the way I like my bikes to track. And so the orange bike tracks. The orange bike fits me great. You know, he did it that way so it would be a little spiffier. That's why I call it frisky. You know, because when you start lengthening the top tube, then they got to adjust the rake, you know, adjust the head tube angle and all that to compensate for that extra. So you can still get the same feel. Because his bikes are built on traditional geometry stuff that works. It's proven. So yeah, that's what I would change. I already know that. I kept the drawing of my current bike that he made. I have that. And I would just send it to him and tell him, make this 3 centimeters longer. He will play with the rake and all this stuff. That's his business. I'm only concerned about my contact points. What they do with the fork rake and the head tube angle, all that kind of crap, I don't worry about that. I tell them I want my top tube to be a certain length and my seat angle. Because that's what matters to me. The seat angle and that top tube. They can play with the fork rig, all of that that's going on with the handling. I just tell them I want a bike that will be stable at speed. And all my bikes, the faster I go, the most stable they are. That's what I go for. I hate a bike that shimmies. You're coming down a mountain at 80 kilometers an hour and that thing starts shaking. It's scary. So no, I wanted to handle. All right, let's see. Christmas greetings, Elder. This is Sion Lynch. How you doing? I think it's in New Zealand, if I remember correctly. All right, so Chris is asking, Chris Roxbury, do they have a badge for the Veloharmony 800K this week? This guy's a smart aleck. Chris, you missed your calling. You need to open a comedy club. No, they don't have a badge for that. Let's see here. Razvan. He said, hello, Eldred. You said in one of your great videos that a reasonable stem for a road bike is between 10 and 13 or 14. For me to get my reach, I need 7. Is it a problem? Greetings from Romania. Romania. I think Romania is the place where they wrote all those stories about Nosferatu and Dracula. I love those, you know. Anyway. It's not a problem. What it means is the bike you're on may be a little bigger than your optimal frame. So it has a longer top tube. That's why you may need a 7. And that's based on just your comment. I don't have any other further details. But that's what controls that. So if you have a bigger frame, then chances are your seat post does not have much showing. You know, and then sometimes they can't even clamp it there. So they'll clamp it on the painted surface, if that's the case. But yes, your top tube is long, so you need a short stem. And so the key is that you have to get a balance between, you know, a top tube that's not too long for you in the right frame. Some manufacturers may make it 56, which I ride, and the top tube will be too short off the shelf. You know, because the bike I'm riding is a 55 that Kish made. You know, he was splitting hairs, and he gave me a 59 and a half. And I'm saying now I want a 62. You know, so I can bring that in because he put a little slope in there. It's not perfectly horizontal, but you can't see it. He told me he was going to do that. He said it looks better on the bigger bikes. He gave it a bit of a slope, just a little bit. And that affects, you know, when things come up, they come closer. You know, so it made it shorter. When they start playing around with these sloping things, they mess up how you do your stem. So keep that in mind. So yeah, they get a little crazy when they're doing stuff. And all I try to tell them is I want the effective top tube length measured on a horizontal line to be 62. And I'll be ready to go. So yeah, you're fine. I mean, 7 is okay, you know, but when you get your next bike, do a bike sizing before you buy it so you can get your ideal frame. So you can get a stiff frame, because a bigger frame that's bigger for you, it's not as stiff as the one that's right for you. You know, you don't want it too short, but you don't want it too big either. So you can play within a centimeter or 2 of your ideal. But don't go much above that. Okay, so Howard says, have a good day, everyone. Got to go. It's getting late in France, 2 a.m. Yeah, bonsoir. Another good session. Thank you for the time and precious information. All right, Howard. All right. Let's see here. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Alberto Nunes says Porto is very wind and rain too in Portugal. Yeah. We get most of our rain here in the winter. Summer here is usually very dry. But you know, sometimes you get a lot of rain. My yard is like a swamp. So, you know, I put the battery in the lawnmower on a battery tender. I can't use it. If I drove that tractor out there, it would just put divots in the yard. The funny thing is, my neighbors that pay people to do their yard, these guys are coming out. Paul and I were riding in the rain yesterday. These guys are blowing wet leaves just so they can collect that money. I mean, the leaves are wet. They're blowing. The leaves don't even want to get up. caveat emptor, you know? I mean, there's nothing that needs to be done. It's fall. There's supposed to be leaves in the yard. Paying somebody to come blow leaves and then you pay them $100 every week. I mean, that's stupid. You got to go work to pay somebody to blow leaves that are not necessary. The grass is not growing. They're brown and dormant. They're coming and trimming. I don't know how they're doing it because my yard is like you step in there, your foot goes down. So, you know, I've seen them cut grass in the rain. It's raining on them, they're cutting grass, which you're not supposed to do. Just to collect that money from these people and then just hand it over. That's why everybody's mad on the road. They go to these jobs they hate so they can pay the yard guy and Zwift and all these other people. Anyway, let me get off my slip box. All right. Let's see here. El Mascarado. I remember that name. Said, hey, Eldred, my Vic wheels are flawed. It was once on. I once owned 2 pairs Caesium wheels. Really? Okay. The cassette body wears through the actual hub and causes major cassette play. Really? Be aware. Okay. I'm going to keep doing some research. Yeah. It's just I saw it on eBay and maybe that's why they're selling it. I've never owned Mavic. I think Mavic is made in France. You think they would make great wheels. I mean, that's cycling area there. Let's see. Thief Van Thiefson says, haha, thanks, mate. I like your answer, spoken from the heart. I feel you. Strange world we live in. I think he was the one asking about Zwift. I got to check. Yeah, he was the one asking about Zwift. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. It's like, it's not like golf. It's kind of like, you know, I know a lot of people play golf here in the area. We have a golf course, right? Every day they go, they got to pay. They pay club fees monthly, you know, to go out and play that game. We pay enough to go to the grand fundos and all that stuff. Just ride your bike. Watch the telly, put on cartoons, whatever you're into if you're bored. But if you have a training program, when I get on my bike, I have something to do. I don't, you know, a lot of times if I'm just spinning because my legs are tight, then I will turn on a channel. I've talked about Nick Nimmin that I learned how to grow your channel as a professional channel. That he shows you how to grow your YouTube channel. I'll turn that on if I'm just spinning. But when I'm doing a workout, I don't need anything. I've got my paper that especially if it's a new workout, I got the paper right there by me and I'm reading, okay, 15 seconds, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to warm up. By the time you're done with that, you're done. You're not bored because it's 1 hour when you warm up. The warm up itself is a workout, so you got to be reading. You know, the people who bought the plan off the site know what I'm talking about. You know, you don't need, it's not a need. It's a nice to have. You don't even know those people, the avatars. So why would you pay to ride with them? Ride with your mates, your local mates. It's free. Let's see here. Cartage Jen says, any tips to fix a noisy bottom bracket? The first thing is make sure it is the bottom bracket. The bike is really tricky. Sometimes it sounds like it's the bottom bracket. It might be the cassette or the wheel back there might be loose. The toughest part is diagnosing. But a lot of times if it's noisy, then it has to do with the play, depending on what kind of bottom bracket you have. It's if you have cups, if the cups are screwed in, then maybe the cups loosening a bit, especially if it's Italian tread. I have one called Nago Italian tread. I ended up using Loctite because it kept working its way out because it's unusual. The English threading, I didn't have any problems with that. But if you have a pressed bottom bracket on a carbon frame, certain manufacturers have that problem. We hear that a lot in our rides. You know, Paul even mentioned it. There was somebody ticking or whatever. You hear the ticking because the carbon, if they didn't use enough Loctite when they pressed that in, the press fit bottom bracket has issues. It's not 100% of the bikes, but it's common enough. So maybe if you have one of those, you may need to take it out and Loctite it. They have a specific Loctite that you use for that. It's not permanent bonding. It allows you to remove it. I think it's like 609. You know, look it up for your frame and do it. Because without that, because what happens is everybody's making bikes and then these press fit bottom brackets are made by a different manufacturer. So the tolerances might be off and you get a little bit of a gap and carbon is brittle. So it ticks because a little bit of movement. and the Loctite fills that in. And sometimes people will skip that step. I feel like they don't need it. I have similar issues with my Campagnolo Super Record. On my Kish bike, it feels like it's welded. There's no movement because that guy is so precise. I think I've mentioned how easy it was for me to do the build. The English bottom bracket fit there perfectly. The Campy, Ultra Torque, everything. No movement, no noise, nothing. On the Colnago, there's a bit of a play. And they give you a little spacer. It's kind of a funny, it's circular, but it's got waves to compensate for those. But still, even with that, I don't want to put 2 in there. I just put 1. It's there, but when I'm riding, there's no noise, so it's fine. You know, that's the thing. So I use that as a comparison because with carbon frames, where you're pressing and you're not screwing in the cups, that's where the noises can come from. The key is make sure it is your bottom bracket so you don't go on a expensive witch hunt and it might be the pedal. The pedal itself, where it's attached to the crank arm, if they're loose, they can make similar noises and you think it's the bottom bracket. Also, here we go, down the rabbit hole. Also, if the headset cups on your bike are loose, let's say they didn't press them in or they worked their way loose, when you stand, they will sound like the noise is coming from the bottom bracket, but it's your headset cups. There's so many things. Diagnosing noises on a bicycle, it's a headache. But once you nail it down, it's a learning experience, you know, so it's good to know. So you go through the motions of making sure, start with the rear wheel, make sure your cassette, your skewer is not loose. Make sure when you close it, you have an impression in your hand. So that's tight. That can make a noise you think is coming from there. Check the pedal, make sure the pedal's nice and tight. Pull the pedal, hold the crank arm, pull the pedal. See if there's any play in the bearings. And you limit that before you go to the bottom bracket because it's expensive to just do that. I don't think you need a new one because bottom brackets now, they're sealed, they last. So, but if it's not seated where it makes the frame, that's where the noise will come from. You know, that's my guess. I don't know what kind of use your bottom bracket has seen, you know, so. All right. Roxic 12. I tried speed play pedals, but as a newbie rider, I found them difficult to clip into. Yeah, it takes some practice. They do have a lot of flex. Some people love them because you can clip in on both sides. I have never tried them. You know, I've just read about them, and they're prevalent enough to where when I did my comparison on the channel, I included them. The 3-bolt has worked for me, you know, so I just stayed with them. I like the Shimano platform because it's nice and wide. Sion Lynch. Hey, Elder, I've been riding for 4 years now. Never had a professional fit. What step would I need to take for you to fit me onto my bike? Go to veloharmony.com. Under the cycling services, you will see remote fit. All the details are there. There's a form for you to fill out, and then you go ahead and purchase the fit, and we'll get you taken care of. We've got it down to where you will send us a video, set up a drive on Google. It's all, we've been doing it for a while. People have asked for it. That's why I set it up. It's more challenging for the fitter than somebody being here because I can just do it. But I think it's nice. Noel Pagan's one of the recent guys. Sebastian Martinez, another guy in Florida, big guy that got himself fitted. But if you're somebody who can, you know, loosen the seat post, the biggest thing is that you will need to purchase. And I probably should put it on the. We'll update the website to put that there. You need to purchase a 12-foot rule at a hardware store. They're not that expensive. That has a bubble, like a plumber's level in it. That's what we use to really get your saddle height in this direction. Once you sign up, we'll give you access to specific videos on the website that's made for those who sign up for that, and we'll give you the things to look for and how to execute all of that. We've got it down to a science now. I've had to streamline it because it involves a lot of time, but it's an accomplishment when we get it done. So yes, so just go. Let me put the link here for you. Let's see here. Let's see. This channel, the website has been another labor of love because I had to get directly involved because I take things out of my head and put it there as opposed to going through a third-party guy who may not do it right. So the people who host the site don't have to mess with my site that much. Let's see here. Cycling services, where is it? Bike Fit. Okay, on the cycling services, Bike Fit, remote Bike Fit assistance. I'm going to add to it. I need to make a note. I'm glad you asked that question. We need to add the requirement for you to get a rule with a plumber's level. That's not on there because that makes the difference. And it's not money that's thrown away. You use that for everything to check your saddle to make sure it's level. You put that on there. Okay, so because it takes out the guesswork, and then you check your floor also. And then you need to have an indoor trainer. Maybe I should put that on there too. You need to have an indoor trainer, not rollers. So you can put the bike on there and ride inside because that's what you're going to be filming yourself. All right, let me put the link here. I'm glad you mentioned that. I will do that tonight. Let's see. And it's a thorough process. We make sure you're right. And the thing I want to tell everybody is when you do a fit, not everybody is 5 centimeters off, like my buddy Paul was or whatever. A lot of times you're within a centimeter, but when you're close to optimal, I can feel a millimeter off. I can feel it, literally. So you can be within a centimeter here and there. It can make a difference. A centimeter is significant, So don't think that you have to be far off for your comfort. A lot of times, you're sitting funny and then we move that seat back. Somebody asked when I was fitting Frankie, how did you know to move the seat 3 millimeters? I move it 3 millimeters at a time because anything less is hard to really feel the change. And it just gets us there quicker. That's the reason. Let me paste this here before I forget. There's the link. And that will tell you everything you need to know. All right. Let's see here. Senor Lynch confirmed that he's in New Zealand. He's in the Veloharmony Club. And we also have a Veloharmony group on Facebook. For those of you who have not been out there, people share knowledge, they post their rides. There's a lot of stuff going on there. I kind of keep my eye out there as well. All right. So Cartesian says 2012 Cannondale Super 6 BB30. Yeah. Okay. BB30 is a press bottom bracket. Okay. I always wonder why you guys don't give me that information. It's like I'm being tested. You could have given me that, make my job easier. You don't give me that first. New bearings recently. Creek always come back. Okay. New bearings. Okay. Look to see if it's been Loctited to the frame because it's being pressed in. The cups that they're pressing in is supposed to be coated with Loctite, the appropriate number of for Loctite, not permanent, and then inside the frame. Do both. I did that on Alan's bike. He had a creak also, and I did that for him, and it went away. Make sure that they use Loctite. I use the accelerant. Loctite has an accelerant so you could dry quickly because Alan is very impatient. If you tell Alan to wait one day and you give him a bike, he will probably jump on it the same day, and I know him. So I use the accelerator for it to cure. You don't have to. But find the correct. I think I use 609. But look it up. They have Loctites that for non-permanent. And in fact, you want to go to the bottom bracket, the brand, the BB30, they'll tell you what Loctite to use, or out of the manufacturer, I believe the bottom bracket company. That's what you need to get rid of that creak. Because it's rubbing up against the plastic. Well, the carbon, that's what's causing the creaking. There's a gap. It's not significant. That's why sometimes the creak comes and goes. Yeah, you start talking on a climb, and all you hear a cry. That stuff drives me nuts. I hate to hear noises on my bike. We used to tease people and say, "Is that your knee? Is that your knee making that noise?" And so, all right, let's see here. Riding with Job, JHV. Say, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? See, Jeffrey Davis did a clean and grease, sorted out. Cardigan, crank on it. Okay, Cardigan is talking to Jeffrey Davis. And so from Colombia, I think it's H Cop 76. Welcome. So TT, El Mascarado might be right. So these guys are chatting. I'm going to skip. So Stanley says, hi, Elder. I had to turn sound down so my wife couldn't hear you talking about Zwift. So you must have Zwift. I could imagine her comment. I told you so. Now, you know, that's just my mindset. I don't think. Let me put it this way. If you enjoy it, fine. But I couldn't tell somebody go get Zwift. Like, okay, for you to ride a bike, you need Zwift. No. You got it to try. You like the interaction. That's cool. That's fine. But a new rider, you know, for me to tell a new rider, buy Zip wheels. Like that's what he needs to get to be a good rider. That's just wrong. That's what I mean. And the way the question was posed, he wanted to know, what do I think about Zwift? It is nice to have. It's not necessary. Just like a $15,000 bicycle. It's a bicycle. If I have 15 grand, I'd buy me a Vespa. Remember Chris said, when I mentioned that Chris Blackberry had a comment about that. I'd buy me a Vespa so we can motor pace. We'd have a lot of change left. Heck, we just bought a Mini Cooper 2009, $5,000 for my 19-year-old daughter. 92,000 miles. In this city, that's like a new car because in this city, this is car country. Usually it has 170,000 miles on it. We found a good copy from a reputable place. And yeah, I wasn't going to pass it up. I told my wife, you don't pull the trigger, I'll buy it for me. Because she was on the fence. I already had the model. I have a model back there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let's see. I gave my daughter. Let me pick it up. It's behind these cards. I love them so much. I don't own a Mini Cooper, but I like them so much. I already had the model. I had a red one and this one. And since we got her a red one, I gave her the model. And she was thrilled. I mean, of course, she was happy about the car. But I had talked to her a bit more than a year ago, and she told me it was her dream car. I was like, you get your dream car as your first car? What are we going to do? Get you an aircraft next time? And good luck for her husband. You know, what is he going to buy her? I'm making it tough for whoever he might be. But no, the point is I told my wife, you mess around, you don't want to buy this for me. You know, that was such a good deal. The car was in great condition. It was fully loaded. Whoever had it, one owner, just, you know, impeccable. I was like, we got it. We got to have this. You know, so $5,000 for a car and we're paying $15,000 for a bicycle. How do you talk your wife into that? So the bikes are just really getting out of hand and we got to rein them back in. You know, you don't need it. You don't need to spend that much. And we got to get the new. You heard a bunch of people asking for a new rider, what kind of wheel? For a new rider, what kind of bike? Because people think that, no, just a bike. Whatever you can afford, it's good enough. Just show up and ride. All those guys who are riding with, most of them got regular wheels. They don't bring out fancy stuff unless they go to races or events that matter. Then they use their wheels. As soon as they get home, they take it off and hang it up. Those wheels cost too much to be riding every day. These guys train on aluminum rims like you see Paul and I are on, because those things just last. Okay, it doesn't hit your pocketbook. You know, I've got a pair of Urus wheels from 2006. I'm riding. Yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, I want to make sure we can get more people in the sport and what. No, but Zwift is not bad. I'm just saying, you know. Yeah, I'm glad you turned it down. You don't need to lose your Zwift because of that. If it's working for you, my brother, enjoy it. All right, let's go to, let's see. I'm trying to skip some of the conversations here. So El Mascarado, how do you feel about the disc brake hype on road bikes? Yeah, that's a issue. They're pushing it, and it's not very popular among seasoned riders. You're not going to see them flocking to buy that. I don't mind them. I mean, it's not a problem. If I'm getting a new bike, it'd be nice to try it, but yeah, it is such a push, and people are trying to justify this. If you have carbon wheels, yeah, the disc brakes are great because the carbon braking surface, I could care less about it. The only issue is if you've got already bikes like we have, I got all my wheel sets are regular. So now if I go to disc, I will only have a bike, one bike that uses discs. It can't share my other wheels now. That's what I mean when you move to new technology. It is an investment. Because you're not just getting that, you got to get wheels and other things, you know, because you don't want one set of wheels for your disc bike. You need a spare set at least so you can keep riding. You know, you guys knew we're going on a ride. I broke a spoke. I just came in the house, took it off, put another wheel on there. Didn't interrupt our ride. You need at least an extra set, you know. So, yeah, they're okay. They're not bad. They're just, you know, I wouldn't take off the brakes I have to switch to this. No. It would be like a new bike thing, and for me, if I'm getting the bike built by Kish, I will pick traditional brakes because I want to use the wheels I already have and use the money for something else. That's just the way I think. So you know, I'm not going to be getting discs anytime soon because I got 3 bikes that use conventional brakes. I'm going to ride them, you know. So. All right. El Mascarada said, LOL about the gardeners in your neighborhood. We get the same here in Los Angeles. Yeah. They're blowing wet leaves. And the leaves weren't even moving. And making noise in the morning. The blowers need mufflers on them. They're too noisy. So he says, how do you feel about the disc brake hot? Okay, I already answered that. Lloyd McClinton. Hello from Miami. It's a new guy. Welcome. As a heavy rider, it's 2:01. We're going to be wrapping up 2 hours. As a heavy rider, I'm having trouble finding kits that fit big riders. Do you have a suggestion because I'm new to cycling? Yeah, heavy rider is relative. You know, I'm heavy too. And, you know, I'm a big guy. I know, you know, we got guys that are 235 and something like that. They don't really have a big and tall. So when you say heavy, I guess I'm sure that maybe you're talking 2X, 3X maybe. Yeah, it's a challenge because most of these guys that stop. I know Santini makes some 3Xs, but the European sizes are so weird. I know Rafa has XL. I think that's as high as they go. And then they got the dimensions on them. I'll make a note. Let me look. That's the first time I've gotten that question. But do me a favor, if you can go to the website, veloharmony.com, look under the About Us link on the menu. There's a contact thing there. Send me your email. Let me do some research and I can answer that question specifically. And then once I do the research, I can talk about it here because what I also want you to send me is, send me your dimensions, you know, your weight, your chest, that kind of stuff, so I can get an idea to try to find somebody who makes jerseys in that range. So, you know, and because other than that, then you can do custom stuff, which not everybody is very expensive. There are a lot of companies that do custom. So once I get your dimensions, I can come up with some options, and then we'll talk about it in the next live session. Okay. Sion says that. Okay. Let's see here. Eldred, any ideas on putting gravel tires on a disc road bike? I don't think it would be a problem. Your clearance, than your clearance on the frame. But since you already have disc, hopefully you got enough clearance. Yeah, that's fine. My only thing with my current bike, they have paint on it. So I would probably only do it on the Kish because the bottom is titanium. Because you don't want the gravel hitting your paint and chipping it up. You know, I like my stuff to look good. Those bikes are years old and still look new. So yeah, you should be able to do that. Just switch it around. A lot of people don't even get gravel bikes. They just get a cyclocross bike and have different tires for the different surfaces. That would work too. So you have a lot of options. And you can use a cyclocross bike on the road. You just change the tires or the wheel. And you'll be just as good. Because if you look at the cyclocross races, part of it is on the road. Because they do it in a park. And I think the finish line is usually on the road. And those guys are going pretty fast. So they have tires that can handle the sand, mud, and ride on the road. They're out there. Yeah, that will work. The biggest thing will be clearance. That's all. It looks like I can only, this is DJ Tony, it looks like I can only go up to a 700 by 28, maybe a small 700 by 30. Just be careful about getting that tire too close to your seat tube or the brake, because then when you get any debris in there, it will just rub on the tire and I'm speaking from experience because I put the 28 on the Kish and it polished the Campagnolo anodized thing to where underneath there it looks like beautiful polished aluminum. We just should have come that way anyway. Because we rode in areas that had mud or something got in there and the tire just continued to spin it. So when I changed the tire, I looked under the brake caliper. It didn't affect the frame at all, but it got within 2 to 3 millimeters. So I've got about 2 to 3 millimeters of clearance between my 28 and the seat tube, and it's fine. But yeah, that's what you got to look for. Make sure you got enough clearance, because if your skewer comes loose, it can be a headache, and you don't want to rub the paint off your frame and stuff like that. You don't have to do a 28 if it doesn't fit. Do a 25. That's so close. I've got 25, 28. The difference is there, but when you do what you have to do, Paul can only put a 25 on the Scatante. So we're going to wrap up here. Let's see here. Lloyd said, thanks. Yeah, send me the thing, Lloyd. I'm serious because I want to research that. I'll do a video on it for the channel so we have it in the archives about this sizing for bigger riders because, they need to accommodate all sizes and shapes of people. And Rafa does give you discount if you lose weight. And I think it's limited to, I don't know, a year or so. If you buy a jersey from them and you lose weight and you need to change sizes, they sell you the other one at 50% off. They have that. Razvan said, thank you, Elder Grade. All right, guys, subscribers and everybody else, we're here to stay. We're going to do a subscriber hangout Wednesdays and Fridays. Thanks to Chris, Eric, Nell, the rest of you super legends. Those of you who have not considered it yet, think about looking at Patreon. I'm putting rewards there for the different categories, different things you can get. We have Nico, who already has joined a group there where he's going to take advantage of some of the rewards. There will be more rewards being rolled out for the different categories that you are. The $5 levels already sold out after we did that thing the last session. Everybody signed up on there and it's sold out. So the 10 and the other levels are there. But they help the channel and we can keep this going and make sure you guys have a resource. So Lloyd, I will look for your email. Veloharmony.com, the about section, contact us, send me your particulars, your measurements and everything. And I will just use it to do the research and then come back and basically talk about what's available for people of different sizes and shapes and so forth. Okay? We're done. Another great session, guys. Get your case in. It's Friday night. I'm going to go get something to eat. And I'm going to get a good night's sleep because tomorrow we're going to get at least 163 kilometers in the legs. I'm hoping people show up so I can film something for you guys. But if they don't, I guess I will be filming my brother and I because it's going to be raining. And around here, people act like they're sugar and they're going to melt. All right. Veloharmony out. Be good. Get your K's in. Let's hook up again at the premiere on Monday.